Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Pros Bros. I'm Player One, Ike, and with me
is Player 2, Eli. Hello.
Hey! Good to have you, Broskinkowski.
Thanks, Potato Chip. Can't start these.
That's a great one. I haven't heard that one.
Really? How have you not? I swear I've used that.
Well, I try to forget most things you say, so.
Yeah, that tracks too. Monster. But anyway, what have you been reading or writing this week or watching?
Just finished watching, per your request, Arcane on Netflix.
And how was that? What are your thoughts?
Do you want me to... I've got two modes. I've got filleting and dick punching. Which sensual act would you like first, my guy?
I'm curious where the dick punching is coming in.
You want dick punching first?
Let's roll with the dick punch first.
So the dick punch first is, I feel like there are too many things in the story that are quasi unmotivated, such as Jace going from I want to be an inventor, this stuff is going to be good, to council member, all in like an episode and a half. It feels like it's just like that moved quick. And why does he want, like, he goes from not being even remotely interested in the council to being an active member who's like kind of throwing his shit around like pretty quick. And it just feels like a very weird thing for somebody who wanted to do good things and invent stuff.
Sure.
So like going from like he Elon Musked really quickly.
Yeah. No,
from wanting to like create Tesla to like give a shit about Dogecoin.
I think that is probably, like, if I was going to fault one thing with the show, it does have weird moments where it does seem to just kind of abruptly hit the gas. It's like, well, that's fucking fast. But
I feel like a lot of episodes would be... I feel like if... And another one of the kind of big problems is that I feel like they don't give enough like time to breathe on certain axes or certain aspects. And some of that might just be like my personal preference, and some of that might just be like, I mean, there's no such thing as a fact in fiction, if you will. But I would have really appreciated if every episode probably had about 10 more minutes, sometimes not to do anything, but to just let moments kind of resonate.
Sure.
I don't think they do it badly. There's other shows that I think are a lot more of a culprit in this, and like they don't... Like, this one minds it in a very different way. I just would have appreciated, like, in, what is it, like the... By the way, spoilers for the series Arcane on Netflix. Would highly recommend going and watching before finishing the rest of this podcast. In, what is it, like, episode 3, like, 2... what you thought were going to be major characters just get waxed. Actually, 4. But, like, the 2 kids just get literally buried.
Yeah.
And you just move on. And, like, Powder doesn't even bring it up when she's like, I did the thing. It's like, how does she not realize where... Oh, that's weird. There's 3 other people in that cell, and I only see one of you. There's no, like... Yeah, I know she's a kid, but also, like, maybe have her freak out for a second instead of just, like, coming up all happy.
I mean...
Like, there's little things like that in the show that, for me, it's like...
Like, that moment, I kind of disagree. Because she didn't necessarily see consequences as much as she saw her contraption worked.
Yeah, it finally worked for the first time.
Yeah. And so the first person she sees is her big sister, so she wants to be proud to her big sister. Like, it finally worked. Like, I did it, and all she got was rejection.
Sure. And I see that. That being said, she literally, until later, doesn't ever, like, reconcile or notice that 2 friends of hers that were, like, there all the time just aren't. Like, they don't exist anymore. Her dad is just... Her, like, pseudo-father is just gone. There's no, like they could have had... I feel like they could have written in that dialogue there of just be like, wait, where is everybody? Or, just like, do you see how, like, I'm alone? Like, where are the other people,
I think
Powder?
I think we've had to, I think Vi could have said something. I don't think it comes from Powder, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments in the show that I feel like the dialogue could be kind of jazzed up a little bit. I feel like they kind of missed a couple moments where I feel like the dialogue could be a little bit more profound or just a little bit just fitting to the circumstance, and it just kind of like popped for me in a slightly negative way. It wasn't ever like truly egregiously bad, but it was just like, I feel like that could have been better. There's a couple of like story beat moments, and again, these aren't like big things, but it's like, so Silco kills Vander, who I didn't like. Are they actually brothers in canon?
No, I think just like brother kind of figurative, like they were brothers in arms kind of deal.
Yeah, so he kills Vander over the fact that Vander isn't willing to like kind of stand up to the Topsiders. Then when like in the next episode, when we've time jumped a little bit and Jinx is kind of throwing her shit around, Silco gets angry at her. It's like, this is what you got angry at Vander for not doing, and now that it's happening, you're getting angry at the person who's doing it. It's like,
not exactly.
What? Am I misreading this?
You're misreading it. Because so Silco's upset because enforcers are kicking shit around in their hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, no, this is our fucking home. This is our house. You don't fucking come in here, kick my dog, piss on my lawn.
Oh,
okay. No, we don't take that. Like, he got mad because Vander wouldn't stand up and just say, enough's enough, get the fuck out. But later, Silco's running a drug trafficking ring, basically. Killing cops is how you get attention. So that's why he was upset with Powder, because suddenly all eyes are on Zon, and what's going on in the Undercity.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, because like enforcers were everywhere because he wouldn't give up Vi, but he wouldn't fight either. Like, he was trying to play it to the middle as cleanly as he could, and not picking the extreme for violence. Like, they fucking overstepped, we're kicking him out. Yeah, because he was
okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's something I hadn't really kind of seen as clearly. That's a good fix and good insight on that one. One of the other ones that I'm trying to think. I know there was other stuff that kind of made my head kind of tilt a bit. This one made my head tilt, but I think it is good. It just like was a personal like kind of annoying thing. Was all the kind of like crazy involving Jinx with her just being like her brain being kind of scrambled. I get it. It was just at times it kind of like it didn't wear thin, but it like was hard to track and really hard to fully wrap my brain around. But I think that's kind of the idea.
Kind of the point of crazy people.
Yeah. Does that feel, as somebody who worked in like the social system and tried to help people with, problems of similar like issues? That? Yeah. Yes. Did that feel realistic to you?
To a point, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like no one size fits all ever works for everything.
Yeah.
But like,
for sure.
I've absolutely met people who have kind of fragmented personalities or like clear mental blocks and clear things that it's like, I can't touch this. Like, because otherwise I'm fucking going off. Like, absolutely.
That's interesting. That's really cool. I'm glad they were able to do that well. That's one of those ones that was annoying to me, but I'm sure was like more correct than it was incorrect.
I think one of the best scenes for doing it that I really liked was when she goes back to like the old arcade and just goes bananas on like the kind of pseudo punching game thing.
Oh yeah, the boxing machine.
Yeah. It's just like it's kind of stitching in, like, memories of Vi that she's basically repressed, because she's essentially repressed memories of her sister.
Yep.
And so just, like, seeing it kind of bleed through is yes, that kind of shit happens. The people with PTSD, those are called, like, intrusive memories. And intrusive symptoms.
Interesting.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. There's a couple other, like, weird things. I think the one with Jace is, like, one of the more glaring ones where, like, how quickly it ratchets up.
I see why that happened, and I'm okay with it, because Jace didn't do it on his own volition. Medarda just kind of pulls him to it and makes it happen around him.
Yeah, Medarda definitely does. I think there's a better way to have done it. I just, like, again, it's just, like, I like the pacing of the show for the most part. It does a pretty good. It doesn't ever get too boring. It doesn't, like, kind of overstay too much welcome.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do think there are certain scenes and certain times that they could have. And I think with the choice of not, like, kind of lingering when the two kids die in the beginning or when Vander dies, like, they really don't linger that long. A lot of deaths they just kind of move on from.
Yeah.
I think my gut reaction is to be like, no, we should mine that for full effect. But considering they did it for everyone and they had the mining for effect come later and show the characters grieving as things hit them, like, once they got to a safe space where they could have that moment, as opposed to, like, because when adrenaline's running and somebody dies and you're still in fight or flight mode, you're not going to, like, you are
stop.
less likely to just sit and have a breakdown. It's more likely when you get to a safe space that your body's going to let you have that moment. And so in a way that makes sense. And I think I really like that it was a conscious choice. It clearly was. Whoever was writing and whoever was directing it made a point that, like, to do it in that way. And I'm glad they stuck with it. There was very few moments where that happened, where that wasn't the case, which I really appreciated. It's a small thing, but it's with the animation. I think it's just 3D animation in general. When characters touch each other, like, put their hands on somebody's shoulders, it looked like it was floating ever so slightly. It never looked like they were making strong contact.
Right, I literally never noticed that. But you have a penchant
if you go back,
hating 3D animation.
I really just don't like 3D animation. That definitely, I am biased to be sure. But if you look when they're, like, people are shaking hands, or, like, if they're embracing and it's, like, full contact, but, like, shaking hands, putting a hand on a shoulder, stuff like that, it always felt not quite there. I don't know if it was, like, the jacket didn't, crumple or whatever. I'm not, like, an FX artist, so I don't know. It's not really my bag. But that one always felt a little queer. It's a lot better than anything before it in the past, in my experience.
Sure.
Like, 3D wise, it felt really good. I think.
Are we out of?
So
I think I'm putting the dick.
Yeah, I think that's most of the dick punching I have for it. Do you have any kind of slights, or?
I think my big slight, kind of like you touched on, was some of the rapid pacing, and I feel like they either needed a 10th episode or a bit more time per episode to really capture some of those moments. So I don't hate it. It does at times feel a bit rushed, but I'm pretty okay with it, because it didn't feel. They don't have weird slowdowns in the pacing, so it was just kind of like all gas all the time. So I was like, okay.
I don't think it was rushed. I feel like they just
there's just a few things that feel very abrupt, and a few things that feel like they should linger but don't. But since it's consistent across the board, like, it doesn't have any moment that overstays its welcome, to contrast, so it doesn't feel too bad, in my opinion.
It feels like did you ever play Donkey Kong Country?
No.
So there's a mining level where, for whatever reason, you're riding along this minecart and you can jump and you take the minecart with you, because for whatever reason in the game, there are huge holes in between on this minecart track.
Sure.
And that's kind of what it feels like. It's like the transition isn't there, but you wanted to make it from point A to point B. It's like you needed to add that conversation, that character moment where he sits and stews for a minute and we just watch this character think or pace or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that would have made it a lot smoother, and it's a little jagged in some of the, like,
sure,
jumps in logic or whatever like that. But I wouldn't say it's rushed. I would say it's just missing.
Sure.
I know it's like a kind of a weird distinction to make.
You need a little more time to let some things gestate.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I think that's really my big kind of nitpick. Like you mentioned, there's a few dialogue points where things are like, it's a little weird. But I think mostly the dialogue is pretty well written. I think the voice acting is great. It's like
voice acting is great. All right, it sounds like we're getting into the fellatio territory. Yeah, let's.
I fillate this thing pretty hard, so go for it.
You fillate a little harder than I do, but
absolutely.
You want me to hit it first?
Hit it.
All right.
Gobble, gobble.
The animation is. Did you say gobble gobble? Jesus Christ! Thanks, Geely.
Just had to slide it into the radar there.
J-Lo's winking at you digitally. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. The animation is like I'm a huge fan of cel shaded animation, so this was like a Christmas gift to me. It looks the color choices are dope as fuck. It's so good. They pop in like such a unique way that nothing other than cel shading can really do. Loved that. For as much as I talked about, they put hands on somebody's shoulders and it doesn't look right. When they hit each other, it looked right as fuck. Like, it looked so good when Vi is just beating 9 pounds of shit out of peeps. It's like, yeah, that looks great. That
hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when she gets in the fight with the chick who was on Vander's side, then Savika.
Yeah.
Savika. When she gets in the fight with her and gets her in between the pillars and starts slamming her head, damn! Like that was dope. Just I'm not as much of I don't know that much about like true blue combat as you do with your background in like MMA and like mixed martial arts and shit.
Sure.
But that looked pretty believable, like from a tactical perspective. And I mean, obviously, for a fight to be awesome, you got to pretend that both people have so much adrenaline that they can't feel too much pain. But it seemed like it was like plausible within, suspension of disbelief.
Yeah. And I mean, you can very quickly attribute it to she doesn't go down because she's on Shimmer. So
yeah, exactly. Vi, we keep giving her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but I mean, she's the heroine, so whatever.
We got adrenaline for days.
Yeah. I'm very much also, since that comes shortly after, 100% shipping Vi and Cupcake, as she was delightfully called. Those two are just adorable together, friend or otherwise. Yeah, the reason she calls her Cupcake, you're sweet, like a cupcake. I'm like, that's just awesome dialogue right there. I'm here for it. It's the right amount of corny and adorable.
So fun little tidbit. It's one of those little kind of Easter eggs you don't know unless you play the game. Caitlyn, as a champion, lays down traps. Like one of her abilities is she throws this trap down. If you step on it, you're snared. Right.
Yep.
It's like a bear trap, but it's baited with a cupcake.
Yeah. That's great. So, another thing that this show probably does better than most any other show I've seen in recent history is it just destroys the Bechdel test. Are you familiar with said?
Like basically women autonomy. It's a gauge of women autonomy in a show, right?
It is. One of the major things is women talking to other women about something other than a man. Kind of happens a lot in this show. But not in like one of those like, ugh, this again sort of ways that a lot of people would perceive it this way because it's just, the show is so great.
Yeah.
It doesn't ever feel like they're trying to do it. It's just happening organically, which
I hadn't even thought about it, but yeah, no.
Yeah. And I don't think it's bad to intentionally try to pass the Bechdel test, but it's nice when art is organic as opposed to forced. I think that's one of the things this really does in that way.
I think the other reason it doesn't feel forced is because, like, Vi, Jinx are your main characters, so cool.
Yep.
You're almost, and since one of the main supporting characters for Vi is Caitlyn, you're almost inevitably going to pass the Bechdel test to some degree, right? Like, there's scenes that are going to pass it, but you also have very interesting male counterparts that are very integral to the story, like Jace, Victor, Echo, Heimer, even though he doesn't get to do a whole hell of a lot in the first season.
Just be a bitch. He gets kicked around so much.
Actually,
nobody ever listens to him about anything.
I'm not gonna
He doesn't
lie.
affect anything. It's so sad.
The scene where he's getting kicked off the council fucking hurt.
Yeah, it's a bit of a painful one. The weird thing for me, not a slight gripe, but the weird thing for me in that scene is that Jace is like pained to raise his hand. It's like, you called the vote. I mean, like, why are you bitch? Like, why are you like, I don't know if I want to. It's like, you called for this. Just raise your hand and stop being a bitch about it.
Yeah, but it is his mentor.
I mean, we say that, but like, he wasn't effectively in the Mages Guild, right? He was doing his research illegally. And so, unless it was in that time jump,
you've got to assume it's in that time jump.
Yeah, I guess we have to infer it. Although it's not really talked about except in like, oh, he's my mentor. It's like, he is? Oh, okay, sure. Like, whatever. That's like one of those things. It's like, can we have a minute where they talk about being, mentor, mentee a second?
Yeah, that is
please?
One of those things that's a little quirk. But either way, just the whole, like, don't do this. Where he realizes, like, what's happening, just don't do this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it.
It was a little weird seeing, I know Jace's people make hammers, but for him to go like hardcore with the big hammer, it was like, that's cool, but also this kind of doesn't make any sense. But also I don't care, he's got a big hammer. It's kind of sweet.
Also, it was kind of funny seeing him like not in a shirt. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is yoked?
What the fuck is yoked? Yeah. It was, again, a little weird, but it's one of those things that I'm willing to be like, all right, whatever. I was like, fuck it. Another thing that I love in the show that they did is Madara. The way they shot the romance scene between Madara and Jace is a stroke of feminine genius. Because if you compare that to basically every other love scene you've seen anywhere, it's always from the male perspective. The man is in charge and like doing all the things. Granted, looks like effectively, Jace is on top, whatever. But in every other aspect, Madara is in control. Instigates that scene. Like, she is effectively the alpha. Yeah. She instigates every aspect of that scene. And it's like kind of awesome. It's just, I'm like, yes. Like, this is what it looks like. You can have a hot sex scene that is woman centric, that, is empowering to women, and it's still, kinky as shit. And like, it doesn't have to be like this like uber feminine, like, woman moment. Like, you can just have it be sensual and hot, but from a female kind of couch perspective.
We can lay it over the top of your buddy looking into the arcane and dying.
Yeah. They did another mild gripe. I think it plays and it hurts, but it is a little like fridging. Is the thing with with Sky, with the assistant. With the assistant and what's the name of the Victor? With Victor and Sky, it's just like borderline fridging.
Yeah, it's a bit.
It still hits me hard, but like it is kind of like Fridge-esque in that Sky has like, I don't know, 5 lines, and most of them are said right before she gets waxed.
Yeah, it's kind of fridging. It's a bit bad, but
yeah, it's medium. They could have given her more lines and more of a character. The way she goes out and how much it affects Victor is still pretty dope, but it is a little like kind of light considering how much they built up other characters that got like ended abruptly. I think it's like kind of fine. You don't have infinite time. There's a lot of characters. So I think it's like acceptable.
There's a lot of people, and they don't do it very often, and it doesn't. No. It isn't something that's glossed over either.
Mm-mm. No, it wears on him.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
It has immediate and lasting impact on how Victor behaves. So I'm not too angry about it. I do wish they'd given her a little more namesake and more screen time for sure. But like, it's one of the
way she goes out is brutal.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. I was like, wow. So that one wrecked me.
So there's actually theory that she's not dead.
That she's in the
so there's a weird bit of lore, but I was really hoping I'm gonna say potential spoilers, because this is a weird bit of League lore. So Victor is going to become more mechanical. which was kind of fun. So, you know how in like one of the episodes they show Hextech tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is like the laser arm, like shoulder mounted thing, right? He like
it's the thing that like almost like
cuts
it like
stone.
shoots off.
Yeah.
It shoots off part of Hammerdinger's hair or something like that when they show it to him.
Yeah. So in the game, he has that arm. So it was like watching him put that on. It's like, oh, they did the thing. And in the game, he's mostly machine.
That's cool
because he's like basically all metal. And he makes another champion. Canonically, he makes a living golem called Blitzcrank. And he's never figured out why Blitzcrank is sentient, and he's never been able to replicate it.
So we're thinking that Sky.
There's kind of like a kind of conspiracy theory that Sky is like inhabiting Blitzcrank and running.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's like I don't know if it could be no validity to it. It could be absolute hogwash.
Yeah,
it's a fun thought.
Hope so. Yeah, I like. It's so sad and so beautiful at the same time. What happens? It's like she tries to save him and just gets fucking whoop.
Just narked.
Yeah. Also Madara's mom is just again another one of those empowering female characters that's really cool to see.
Don't
give a fuck. Yeah, just want that
cuisine.
Yeah, give me that sweet man booty. Come here, boy, spelled with an I. I need to freaking tap that keg. It's like, Jesus Christ. She's awesome. Love that character.
I'm scare-roused.
Fact.
Yeah.
Such a great character. Love that character. What was there was something else that they did in this show that was just so freaking badass. All right, you go ahead. I'm gonna see if I can like come back up with it.
I think overall my favorite moment in the show is
I remember what it was.
Probably when Eka runs into Jinx on the bridge. That's gonna so money.
Oh, the kind of different art style animation of the callback of when they were kids. It's really sweet and really fucking cool. Also, that ties into one of my other favorite aspects.
As I say, I love the contrast between that, where it's like they're kind of happy and the art style, and then like he hits the stopwatch and it goes to like present day. It's just so fast and abrupt.
Yeah,
like
and also that kind of leads to his future power that he's likely to have and or currently has. Which is like he can go back in time like a little bit, right? Isn't that his kind of...
Yes, that is a gimmick. He will get it eventually. Heimerdinger's going to help him make it.
Can help him with it, yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, you just reminded me. Thank you. The music in this show doesn't give a fuck. It slaps harder than any grandma on Christmas Day when you tell her, is that all? After opening last present. It just bitch slaps you. It is so fucking good. Oh, yeah. The music so with good. Echo, I could probably listen to and lose weight because I would get so jacked on just hearing it.
You want to know what song it is?
Sure.
Dynasties and Dystopias. You're welcome.
By?
I forget who it's by, but if you just look it up, you'll find it. I guarantee it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you're welcome. Yeah, all of you out there. Yeah, that song probably the best one, but like the show just like. All the musical aspects to it, whether it's a featured track that, you know, has words to it or is just in the background and is somebody's character theme, they really did not miss when it came to the music. It's up there with the animation style. For me, it's just a 10 out of 10. Would always do again. It is so perfect. Like, yeah, jeez. It's just tremendous. It's so fucking rad.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, yeah. It's just really good. It's really good.
Really good. You should go check it out.
Watch it. Also, I love the kind of cyclical thing that happens between effectively Act 1 and Act
3. Go on.
They both end with it almost ending well, and Jinx fucks it up. Unintentionally. Because in the end of Act 1, they're getting out. Like, Vi's held the bridge, Clagger's basically broken the wall down, and Milo has got him freed out of the chair. They're gone. They're fucking out. They're free. Yeah, Jinx sets a bomb off.
Yeah.
End of Act 3, Jace appeals to the council and fucking steps away from the violence and goes, we don't need to kill everybody. Nobody needs to die. Let's just, let's be done with it. If
Silco just doesn't try to shoot Vi and just, lets them talk it out, it probably actually works out just fine.
Yeah. And if she doesn't shoot, even if Silco doesn't do anything, if Jinx just doesn't shoot the missile at the room, they sign a peace treaty, essentially. They give the Undercity freedom. They give it independence.
Yeah.
But she just hit it with a missile, so that shit ain't happening.
Yeah. Pretty fucking unlikely, if you ask me.
Also, Silco's last moment. Oof. The don't cry, you're perfect.
Yeah. How much do you think that he is playing with her versus how much do you think he's being sincere?
He's being completely sincere. And the reason I say that is because he goes to the statue of Vander because he finally gets it. He goes and talks to Vander because he finally understands why Vander changed.
What it is to be a father. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. That's interesting. Yeah.
And that's why, despite... Because, he'd swear at other people just for fucking shooting him, right? Soco would not go down quietly. And that's why, even though he just got fucking riddled with bullets, he's totally okay with it, because she is his daughter.
Yeah.
Ha!
Just married it on that way, don't you?
Yeah. That's one thing that really stood out to me about the show, is you understand everyone's motivation. And, nobody has a motivation where you're like, I don't get it. I don't...
Well, the Jace Council one, initially, when he, to get involved, is the only one that makes me, tilt my head, but outside of that, I
except
agree.
He doesn't really initiate that. Medarda.
He doesn't initiate
Medarda
that.
does, because she can manipulate him.
Yeah.
And she can effectively buy herself another council seat.
Yep. No, Medarda is one of the... Her intro scene, when she's playing with the toys, is so fucking genius. That's a kid's toy. It's perfect. It's just you fucking genius.
How many times do you see the guy still fucking with it?
Yeah. he's just an idiot and just cannot figure it out. Just money. Yeah, it's perfect. It's so great. She's such a great character. I fucking love her. One of the only things that is problematic with the animation in the show is that Medarda does a bunch of paintings, and it's hard to tell if they're paintings or if they're the background. That's the only thing that is troublesome about this animation style.
True.
Is when it's her painting against the wall. It's is that a background or did Medarda paint something? I don't know. Then just move scenes all right, I guess it doesn't matter.
So, I think one of the most universally well accepted characters of the show is probably Soco, because Soco was great. I think he's just he's a phenomenal villain.
Yep.
I'm kind of sad that he's dead. He's kind of a dick, but I'm kind of sad that he's dead.
He's the dick, but he was our dick.
He was our dick. And so it got me thinking what is your kind of favorite style of villain? Or does that make sense? Because
yeah, what's your favorite? Yeah, what's your favorite
flavor of villain here?
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say I was coming up with I was trying to come up with cereal box companies or something like that. Yeah, favorite flavor of villain. So there's a couple of ones that stand out to me. I like ones that are, super genius, Moriarty in Sherlock Holmes,
sure.
Kind of just a perfect foil for the genius hero is a genius villain. The Thanos type, although Thanos is a little dialed in a weird way, but I think that type of believes that they're doing the good thing. I think my favorite example of this is the mercenary or the swordsman in the movie Serenity. It's just
okay.
Guys I know I'm doing bad things, but it's for the greater good. It's just kind of yeah, I know the medicine tastes bad, but you'll thank me in the morning kind of mentality.
Okay.
I really like that one. Is it just like the idea, like the cartoon villain of like, I'm going to take over the world and like doing a bad thing, but having no moral, like kind of problem with it is like, it's what the fuck?
That is a chinchilla.
That's what a chinchilla sounds like?
That's a chinchilla barking. So.
Oh, okay. That's not my that's not my favorite kind of villain, for the record. That's not what my favorite kind of villain sounds like at all. Guess again. Yeah, like where I like the cartoon villain of like I'm doing bad things and I don't give a fuck. It's like it's fun, but it's like it's got to be in a cartoon because like the minute you start putting real stakes and like believability is paramount, it just like starts to slide away. But with characters like, Thanos or whatever, it's just kind of like, yeah, man, I'm doing something bad. Like, I accept that about myself. And just like, they're kind of like this zen, clear-minded, fully aware, not lying to themselves in any way is just it's kind of awesome. And it opens up an interesting dialogue and the character can like be multifaceted at that point. Yeah. What about yourself?
So I do appreciate a likable villain. Kind of love to use Soco as a reference point, where it's like, I get why you're doing this. I can kind of understand you. I also love the exact opposite on the spectrum. I love the villain who it's so clearly just designed for you to want to hate the man. Like, perfect example, it's not in a movie, but Handsome Jack in Borderlands 2. Yeah. You love to hate the bastard. He's just an asshole. And
is Joffrey in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, like...
Burn him. Kill him. Like, kill it.
Yeah, like...
Kill it with fire!
Fire. like Littlefinger. Just scheming cunts. They're just the worst brand of people. You want them to die. Like, I love a villain you want to hate. It's like, I can't kill you yet. I want to, but I can't yet, and it's driving me insane. Like...
Yeah, that cathartic feeling that you're just, like, waiting... patiently for in the end of the book, at the end of the movie, you're like, please, I want to watch this man die so I want to enjoy this moment.
Just like,
did you ever see the movie 13 Assassins? I think is what it was called.
I think it's like 13 Samurai.
You've seen 7 Samurai. I don't think you've seen 13 Samurai. Maybe was it 13 Samurai? I don't know. It's this movie based around this Lord Prince Jerkface.
Does he end up fighting a handful of swordsmen in a town? He's got like a small army that they just kill.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I've seen what you're talking about.
I thought it was 13 Assassins. Maybe it's 13 Samurai. Anyway, 13 Japanese dudes with swords.
13 some schmucks.
Yeah. At the end of that is like my favorite moment. I totally understand both sides, and it's so awesome. So at the end of it, they've killed most of the good guys. There's like 1 or 2 good guys left. And douchebag McDickpants, like his kind of guards just are kind of like over him and they kind of back away from him. And the main guy gets to like cut him down. And he goes out laughing and it pisses off the main guy who just starts like cutting him down over and over. Because he wants him to feel fear or pain or something. But the guy is just such a loon that he doesn't. And it pisses him off. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Like, that would piss me off, too. I'd be like, no. You hurt so many people. I want you to hurt. Yeah, you don't get to go out happy. Fuck you. And it's just like, it was such a great moment by the writer to have that be the way he goes out. Of just like, he doesn't get the catharsis that that they've been wanting to by killing this guy. It's just like, nope.
Yeah. So,
don't get to end happy. Suck on it.
Fun fact. Something along those lines might have happened, ostensibly, because apparently that guy, like...
Oh, it's, like, slightly based on a historical event?
Yeah, because there's this, like, he was traveling from one town to another, and he didn't show up.
Oh, like in real life?
Yeah, like in historical...
Oh, that's insane.
There's a record of him going from, like, one city to the other, and somewhere in between, he and his, like, small platoon of mercenaries just kind of didn't appear anymore. So there's that.
So what other than the schmucks that you like to see go and the ones that you kind of like or understand their purview is what other villains make your flavor of the week.
Flavor of the week. It's kind of goofy, but I do kind of have an affinity for the kind of absolutely maniacal, pure evil, crazy person. Like,
we're talking Joker.
Yeah, like I have an affinity for someone who it's like, I haven't planned this shit out. I just know I want it, so we're going for it. Like, I'm gonna send it. Like,
yeah.
Or it's just all, to use the Freudian term, it's just all in all the time. Just, I want, so I take.
Yeah.
And it just completely unhinged, wild as they come. Like, Joker's probably the best and kind of most refined example of that. There's got to be another I can quick pull off the top of my head. I mean, shit, to a point, Jinx actually kind of fits this bill. Where she's driven by impulse as much as she's driven by command. She's like, I want something, so I'm going to take it. So I'm going to blow up 6 people. No problem. I kind of like what's... And a lot of... I really like when you get those characters and either they have complete disregard for consequences and like it catches up to them, or they have to sit with or like they get what they want and they have to sit with it like, wait, but I don't care.
Yeah. I think that's like I'm a big fan of characters having a flawed mindset, getting what they chase after, and then realizing that it just doesn't matter. It doesn't make them happy. Yeah, it's one of those things that also parallels life. You think you like, I mean, I feel like to a certain extent you understand what I mean. Like when I finished my first screenplay, I wonder if it's kind of like when you finish your first book, where it was like, oh, well, now what?
Yeah. It's just like, that's fascinating, but who cares?
Yeah. It's just like, it kind of, as much of pleasure of being done with it, there's nothing to look forward to. It's over, and you like move on, you do the next thing. There's like a sense
of grief that comes with it. It's like, it's done!
Yeah.
Oh god, it's done.
Yeah. It's like coming back from a trip.
Yeah, actually. So
it's just like, oh, wait, what?
I have to go to work tomorrow? What? How?
Yeah. Yeah, oh god, that's the worst. Coming back from a vacation, right to work. Ugh, fuck that.
Kill me. Just kill me now.
Yeah, please, God, just end it. Yeah, that is definitely one of those things. But it's so nice to see that in like works of literature or movies or whatever, because that is such a human experience that all of us, like, once we take a second, like, yeah, like I know exactly how that feels, and feel some catharsis in seeing somebody else feel it and not having to feel it but understand it. It's just like so tremendous.
Yeah, for sure.
So you were talking about, you brought up Handsome Jack. Who is from one of our favorite video game franchises and video games ever in Borderlands 2. Yeah. What other video games would you like to see? Because sadly, that one's being brought to film.
Brought to screen under the most questionable of circumstances.
Jesus Christ.
Let's not,
Kevin Hart is batting above his height yet again.
Yeah, let's not start on that one. Let's leave it be. We're going to try and give it the benefit of the doubt as best we can.
Yeah. What other video games or any kind of
thing would I like to see?
non-literary translations to screen would you like to see?
Sure. If for no other reason that I really want to see it done well, I want one good Resident Evil movie. Just one. Please, God.
Wasn't the new one supposed to be decent? I thought the new one was actually, like, good.
Yeah, sweet Jesus. What a fucking time to be alive. I don't know anything about it other than it exists.
I'm rotting tomatoing right now, Jesus Christ. I just went to Rotten Tomatoes. That Red Notice is 36%. It turns out if the writing sucks, it doesn't matter how many star players you have.
Yeah.
Sometimes shit just sucks.
No matter how much you polish it, a turd is a turd.
Yeah, so there's one that's coming out this year. Oh, Jesus Christ, it did bad. Okay.
Okay.
So it was Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Great name. It got a 28% by reviewers and a 65% audience score. It's not even that great of an audience. I mean, it's not a bad audience.
Not bad, but it ain't good.
Yeah, it doesn't balance at the 20%. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So just once, God, I just want one decent Resident Evil. They've taken like 5 swings at it and they've missed every time.
Well, I mean, part of it is I think they're all the same director who is, if memory serves, is Mila.
Isn't that Underworld, right?
Yeah.
Pile of shit.
Think so. Yeah. I think it's also Mila Jovovich's like husband or something like that. And it's just kind of like he just kind of does all of her projects. Thusly, they all have a very similar ring to it.
That's why they all seem the exact fucking same. Mediocre.
Yeah.
But so
I would like to see. What was it? You should remind me of one. Fuck dicks.
I don't know how it would work, but okay. I would like to see Diablo as a show. Like something that from the Diablo franchise as like a show or as a movie. I think that'd actually work pretty.
I think, yeah, I mean, like that one just set piece alone would be banger.
Yeah, I think
just like the first Diablo game. It's just like that would be.
I think you have to do with it what they did with Arcane, where they basically take established characters in an established kind of world and build from there. It's like, because, I mean, obviously you're not going to follow just some schmuck grinding through 99 floors of a dungeon, right? Like, that's just stupid. But, like... I
mean, yeah, but, like, you could still have a lot of you the same. Like,
Sure,
one of the kind of benefits is that the game is so sparse. Like, it has, like, look, this is what we do.
Yeah, and that's my point, is you build the lore just using the established world.
But that one has a lot more of a story than, like, League of Legends does, which is good because it allows for framework, but slightly bad because then it's a lot easier to kind of get off the canon plan.
Sure.
But I do agree. I think that one would be a banger.
That
one's got a lot going for it.
Yeah, I think that could be done pretty well. And that has potential.
There's a strong argument against this one, but like I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been a Call of Duty game or a Call of Duty movie, because there's like a strong story that I've heard only predominantly good things about, and also there's just been so many. I guess you could like argue that most like military movies are basically Call of Duty movies.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I think the story in some of the Modern Warfare ones with like Soap and stuff like that, from what I've heard. Yeah, Soap! Like that, I think that shit was like pretty good, as my understanding. I didn't play through like the whole entire campaign.
I know like Call of Duty 4 had a very good story that people rave about. Because kind of gets where like Captain Price gets introduced and shit. But
yeah.
Beyond that, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think that kind of blends into like just the generic, like, oh, it's another.
It just feels like more of the same.
Yeah, it feels like another movie about Iraq or a movie about World War II or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially with how well it did, if Hades got one. That's a game that we both played the shit out of.
See, I have a little issue with that. Roguelites are a little weird, especially Hades.
Okay, go on.
Because one of the core components is that he keeps dying and retalking.
Yeah, I don't think you could make it a movie, but I think you could make it a show.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a lot of like. Did you ever see that movie? Crap, is with Tom Cruise. Edge of Tomorrow. Where, like, I mean, the literal tagline was "Live, Die, Repeat."
Yeah.
And there's a sequence where he's just dying over and over.
Just like learning.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no.
Maggot. Yeah, it's just like on repeat. It's so fucking hilarious. It's like my favorite fucking scene of that movie.
Yeah.
It's like so great. But I mean, like, that is kind of it. And that was in a movie. It's like, you could stretch that out, have a couple sequences where he just keeps dying.
That's pretty fair. You could have some hilarious death montages.
Yeah. Especially in the beginning. I think there's enough characters that one would make a really strong show, and has a really good story, and like
it is an really outstanding story. It has, I mean, the game at least has outstanding dialogue and kind of fun mythology to draw from. You could absolutely work with it. It still blows my mind that Zagreus is actually a character in Greek mythology. I totally thought he was just a character insert.
Oh, he's actually like a real
actually thing? A thing. Like, he's actually a person in Greek mythology. Blew my brain open. I nearly shit my pants when I learned that fact. I was like, what? No. Really? No. Looked it up. Sure enough. Yes. I was like, what? Okay.
All right. This is one that I haven't played much of, but I know has like a strong story and was really good games that you liked. Sure. Bioshock?
Bioshock would absolutely work. Bioshock would actually be a banger. First one and third one. The second one. I don't think two would be as good, but you could absolutely do one for Rapture and absolutely do one for Columbia. The undersea city and the city in the sky. Like, I think 100%.
Both fantastic backdrops.
Absolutely.
I mean, just on the tagline alone, what is it from the first one? Would you kindly?
Yeah, fuck you, Fontaine. So good. That's one of the best video game twists I've ever fucking seen. So good. Because you don't think anything of it. It's so innocuous. And it's like, oh my god, I've been doing his dirty work. Oh god.
What have I done?
I spoiled a fucking 13-year-old game.
Yeah.
My god, is it actually 15 years old? I think it came out in like 2012. It's 9 years old. 9 or 10 years old. Good god, it's like 10 years old.
Old enough.
This one's a little goofy, but okay. For me, I'd love to see like Risk of Rain made into a video. Or
I was gonna ask about that because you played a lot more of that than I have.
I played too much of it. I've played to the point that I can reliably win, basically. Yeah, when you play too much, win. But it actually has really interesting lore to it. We're not the good guys.
Really? We're like the dicks. Invaders?
Yeah, we sort of roll. So it's weird. So the whole concept is in the two games there's two final bosses. There's Mithrix and I forget the boss of the first game. It's like Tolvir or something. That's totally wrong. I'll remember eventually. But basically, they're like these demigods who can kind of adjust to the world they're born into. And Mithrix makes like these kind of warlike automatons, whereas his brother starts making all these living creatures that are kind of imperfect. And Mithrix ends up settling on the moon because he thinks that his brother's creations are strange, and he wants to keep his separate. Whereas his brother makes living things that can proliferate, and so it kind of fills the world. We are part of we basically go to answer a distress beacon because someone crashes on the planet, and so we go down there and just start wrecking shit because it turns on us and attacks because it recognizes us as foreign. We kind of end up killing everything trying to rescue someone who just sort of crash landed. But it's really sad because when you like in the second one when you beat Mithrix, his like last thing is he's like, "Where's my?" He basically asks for his brother. Like, oh god, what have I done? What have I done?
It's kind of like the like dark game equivalent of. Do you remember when that guy? I think it's somewhere off the coast of India. There's this island where there's this tribe that has never been interacted with by like current like society. He went out there trying to convert them to Jesus, and they just like there's like a lot of warnings being like, don't fuck with these people. They don't have like they're not going to survive the like disease that you've grown antibodies to that you just kind of have. Like you're gonna give them the cold and they're gonna have nothing, no way, no fucking hosed. Deal. Yeah, they're just gonna get browned. And he went out there, and there's a lot of warnings. Be like, dude, don't. He went out there, he's like, Jesus loves you. And there's like, and just like freaking dropped him. It's like, killed him. Because they're like, yeah, foreigner, get the fuck out of here. And, we don't know, like, whatever, they just, like, straight killed him. And people are like, oh my God. It's like, nah, dude, like, they're protecting themselves from this outside dude who they don't know is coming up on their shit. It's just like, yeah, it's kind of like a dark version of that. Like, we're just coming, it's like if that guy, like, got shot at and had a gun or something like that. It was like, whoa, Jesus loves you. And just, like, sort of, like, unloading an AK at him or something.
All I could think the way you said it was just, I don't know you. That's my purse.
By the way, before we get too far away from it, Bioshock came out in 2007. It is 14 years old. Yeah. Wow. The original Bioshock came out on August 21st, 2007. It's over 14 years old.
Holy
Congratulations, shit. Bioshock. You can go see a PG-13 movie without adult supervision. You did it.
Nailed it. 14 years old. Jesus, I'm old. What the fuck?
I knew you were going to say that.
It was half my life ago. It's a weird yardstick, but we're sticking with it.
You're 2 Bioshocks old.
Yeah, exactly. I'm twice the age of Bioshock. Help me.
Point on the Bioshock how long you've been here.
So I'm trying to think of like other games that would work. There's a handful that kind of fall into similar existing genres. Like
I remember hearing
Left 4 Dead would be cool. But it's like cool another zombie movie.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a bunch you could kind of flavor like a game that it feel good to some degree.
I think one of the ones that got done once and done kind of poorly, it was a long time ago as well, was Doom.
It's done terribly.
I remember thinking, yeah. Well, one of the things I didn't realize is that Doom has like a pretty decent story.
Oh yeah, actually, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's kind of like really sad. They're like, oh, Mars. It's like, what? Why are we going to Mars? That's not where it is, guy. It's not where. It's not where Doom, like the original Doom takes place in like hell. Like, yeah. Like the setting is, Devil's House.
Yeah, literally like you opened like a rift into hell, basically. A portal into hell. Something else that actually be a neat series to see would be Darksiders. That'd be kind of cool.
I do not know this one. Fill me in.
So Darksiders, okay. The quick lowdown is that you play in Darksiders. The main characters are one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and the idea is they work for this group, just kind of like called the Council. It's like the Council of Fates, I think. And you basically you go do their bidding. The TLDR is you are given this. You were a Nephilim. You were given this superpower, and you killed the rest of your brothers and sisters, so you didn't die. And now you are basically their bitch. Because you do what the council says for you to do. And you settle disputes between demons and angels and try and keep humans out of the middle. As best you can. And because people are scheming bastards, there's always something for you to resolve. But it's this big kind of grandiose... I mean, a lot of it is founded in, if we're being politically correct, what would be considered Christian mythology. It's like kind of effectively a media version of that. And that, like, a lot of familiar angel names get thrown around, like Gabriel, Michael, etc.
The old classics.
And so that, it kind of, in some ways in the same vein as, like, Diablo, how it would be kind of a bit big and over the top and a nice violent spectacle. It kind of fit in that same kind of category.
When you said Christian mythology, I keep being that just reminded me of that Patton Oswalt bit where he's just like, you like torture porn, read the Old Testament.
I think just started like, listen, I'm glad you can read a book.
I'm glad you can read a book.
Half-Life would be interesting. I think Half-Life has potential of being a movie. That would be really cool.
Yeah, that one also has like a pretty strong linear story as well, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole, it's just like, that one's just like basically mono campaign.
Yeah, that one.
Everybody played the campaign on that one.
Entirely straightforward. Plague Tale is a movie already. Nope, you don't need to change that. Also, if you ever want to be terrified of rats, go play Plague Tale. Or Innocence, a Plague Tale.
I think I'm already scared enough of them. Thanks.
Whoever did the audio for that game can die. Like, it was the ultimate thanks, I hate it. Because you felt like they were just rats crawling in your fucking ears. It was terrible. It's like, it needs to die.
Make it stop.
Yes, yeah, it's like, it was just, it's so good. Thanks, I hate it. You could maybe do like Legend of Zelda. Would be another game series you could probably do like one of, maybe two of. You can't keep doing it every time Ganondorf comes back because the fucker doesn't die.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one that like you have so many different games to choose from too, which is interesting. I guess you probably go back to one of the more simplistic early ones initially or something like that, but I don't know. I haven't played enough Zelda to know how like strong.
I feel like you get like Majora's Mask because everyone knows the moon thing crashing in.
Yeah, wouldn't that one be like a hard introduction though? Isn't there like a lot of elements that like previously were baked in that you now have to like introduce right off jump? And like, aren't there like a lot of like random things that have to happen, or you think that one's like linear enough without too many backtracks that it would like play?
I've never played a Legend of Zelda game, so I don't actually know. I just know that's a very famous one, and that's one to be very easy to like kind of keep in mind stakes. It's just like,
yeah, I guess like if it's like this impending doom where you have to where
you look up and see it fucking staring at you,
Yeah, slowly, menacingly.
Hi, guys.
Trundling down, yeah. Well, that's our episode. Thank you for tuning in. And if you like this, please feel free to
like,
comment,
share,
subscribe.
And don't forget, new episodes of Super Pros Bros come out the first and third Saturday of every month.
Bye!